things that's great about having someone like Piero here is when we were growing up, I'm sure almost everyone here on the field at one time or another dreamt about being, in a family that built cars. And what would it have been like what would it have been like to be in his young 20s, chasing all the beautiful Italian women, and then chasing something else? So you had a very interesting encounter when you were driving one of these, if memory serves me correctly.
Yes, what are you talking about? My wife?
No. I'm talking about when you got in a race with a 400 Super America on the auto show.
Oh yeah, that became my hobby. When I was driving, but this guy has something else to do. My hobby was to chase. I don't know why. I didn't like Ferrari. I never liked it because they were promising a lot, were not delivering a lot. And so my idea was always to follow them and push them until they gave up, because they were very difficult to drive. So the people got tired. Or perhaps another guy, a Super American Ferrari, blew up the engine, and so I stopped and I told him he has a beautiful dog inside, etc. And they said, I can take you to some place, and they took him there. And when I was going out to the highway, another Ferrari went through, and I said, I was with my mother, say, we missed this one. And so after the guy, when we finished, he told me, who are you? I didn't say my name because I was a little bit embarrassed for what I said. So I gave the name of my brother-in-law, and he received a beautiful letter saying thank you very much and so on. And he didn't understand because I never told that to my brother-in-law until he called me. What does he think about this guy from Ferrari? So that was one. I did many of these episodes. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And then you were making 4-seat cars.
Yeah.
And then you went into the 2-seat market with the Grifo, which the prototype was shown in 1963, and that car is sitting over in the ESO display. And then they took about 18 months to engineer the car for production. Why did you go into the 2-seat market?
We need a more sexy car. We presented this car just to have more attention on the marketing. And after we found there is a certain request. But we never believed too much in this car, so we never did all the mold and all the touring that we did for the other one, that we were producing in certain numbers. But it was very successful. We need some sexy. At that point, after came out Maserati with the Ghibli, and so we started that period of this very beautiful 2-seat sports car in Italy, and we were right in the middle of that. And that car did very well. We did never expect the two small seat cars to do so well.
So it's much like the Lamborghini era, that they only expected to sell about 50 or something like that, and so it was the same with you and Rivolta.
Yes.
And then if memory serves me correctly, your first year with the whole year of production, which was 1966, you made Perfect. This one here could have, this is the Grifo GL. It had a top speed, if you had the 365 horse engine in it, of about 160 miles an hour. But at that time in Italy, there was a bit of, for lack of a better term, a top speed war going on.
Yeah.
Am I correct? And where did you hear about that everyone was so interested in speed? Was it customers telling you that? Was it, were you hearing out at parties, or how did you know that?
There was a lot of bets going on. For instance, we were going up and down from Torino very often because we were doing some party in Torino, and the idea was how many minutes did you take to go to Torino and come back. I remember one night I had a party with Quattro Ruote, and in Torino I came back with my wife, and I was very tired, and I said, we have to go to bed as fast as we can. It took 31 minutes to go 130 kilometers. And after this start the race, everybody was going from Turin and back. They have to put how many minutes. It was usually between 29 and 31. And after we start also to do with Rome, or 3 hours. We never reached 3 hours, always more than 3 hours. So it was a kind of speed feeling that came out, kind of, and everybody was driving as fast as they could.
And so in that quest for speed, now you'll notice that this car is slightly different than the previous regional, in that we have a hood scoop here, you have a badge here on the B pillar that says 7 litri, which stands for 7 liters. The difference between this and the previous 3 ESOs is those all had Corvette 327s in them. And that was one of the keys to ESO's success, was the cars were built to never give you a problem. And certain models had their own connecting rods and large oil cans, so they could go at high speeds for an extended period of time. But 160 miles an hour was no longer enough. So the way you rectified that was
to put the 7 liter.
And how did that whole story come about?
We were thinking to do that. At the moment came a gentleman that tell me that you remember the name.
Corti,
you're right. And he wanted to go a certain speed. It drove me nuts, So I said, okay, we do the 7 liter for you. And we did the first 7 liter, was yellow, I remember.
That's correct.
And I ordered a few engines because I also put the 7 liter. I was racing on the hydrofoils at that time. So I have a 7 liter on the hydrofoil of my motorboat. And so we use this engine and we create the 7 liter. That is really a fast car.
Perfect.
Also, the owner of Quattro Ruote in the Italian magazine, he bought the 7 liter.
It was, when equipped with a 5-speed transmission, the 7 liter was good for about 175, 180 miles an hour. And so it was legitimately a contender for the fastest car in the world. This model here is called the Lele, and there's an interesting story behind this model's name.
Yes, my wife, she always liked, I like all the presents. Right at Christmas, I forgot completely to buy a Christmas present. So the night before, I got an idea. I took a piece of wood, and I wrote that I will give you a full line of car, and I called Lele. My wife is Rachele, but everybody called Lele. My wife, she was quite offended because I said that is a trick to the last minute. You should not have done that, but okay, now I've done. So after we didn't know how to promote that to the press. So the press was, my wife gave me a daughter, that is Marella Zagato Rivolta.